Hey everyone, it's Sean Donahoe here, and we are officially on day 4 of the Exit the Hustle Challenge. Now, you might notice something unusual. I'm just here by myself. That's because, funnily enough, we practice what we preach. Phil is actually on a call with a student right now, or a potential student who is looking to do more by doing less, or get more by doing less. So he'll be joining us later on, depending if it's a long call or a short call. But this is what we do. This is one of the things that we're going to be talking about a little bit today. You see, we're very much aware of a big storm that's coming. That's what I'm going to talk about today. Everything we've been talking about is based around us being able to do more by focusing on being more efficient, streamlined, and everything else. And one of these really is going to be the big storm. The big thing, not just for next year, but for the next decade, is a thing we call C-commerce. Now, what is C-commerce? This is something that a lot of people ignore, and it's going to wipe them out. It's conversational commerce. Helps if I put the correct spelling up there. But C-commerce, or C-com, conversational commerce, it's not a typo, it's not a derivative of e-commerce. It's about being able to have communications, conversations. It's putting the human back into business. And when you do it the way that we do it, the way that we focus on, it can turn into one of the simplest, easiest business models and the most unhustled business models out there. In fact, we're going to talk about this in a lot more detail tomorrow, because tomorrow is the big one. Tomorrow, day 5, the final day, we're going to take everything we've talked about for the last few days and bring it all together, tie it up in a nice bow. But here's the thing. C-commerce is focused on 3 simple concepts. And when you master these 3 simple concepts and you ingrain them in everything you do, you will leap forward past every other business out there. And when you implement this in your life, it will make you a far better communicator. It will really increase everything you do. You see, right now, I really wish that we were all in a big room together, because the power of communication and effective communication is incredible. And when you're doing it in a physical presence, that we were all gathered in a big group, not just sat here behind our desks or looking at our phones while we're talking about this. This is the next best thing, is where you can have a one-on-one conversation. You can find out so much and create huge opportunities. You see, in terms of, traditional, let's just call it traditional business. You have one message going out to thousands and thousands, even, depending on your audience and your list. And what you're hoping to do is talk to that one person who you resonate with. If you can imagine there's a room of 100,000 people, okay? And you've got one person who your message resonates with right now. I call this shotgun marketing. And it really is. It's like firing a shotgun, hoping one of those pellets hits the target. I've got a completely different approach. I eliminate all of these guys, and I just talk to that one perfect customer. And I initiate the conversation. Now, there's 3 parts to C-commerce. Is connect, converse, and convert. You see, my job is to have as many conversations as I can. I build my team, my businesses are all based around one thing. Let's have a conversation. Doesn't matter whether it's on your phone, having a quick text chat. One thing I like to do, I'll do this. I'm dyslexic, so I don't like to sit there and text and everything else. I'll open it up and I'll voice dictate a message. If I have an opportunity to, and again, with a lot of phones, a lot of communications, I don't type. I actually leave voice messages. Why? It's infinitely more personal and thoughtful. You're hearing and resonating with that person rather than in an impersonal chat like text. Or the one thing that drives me nuts is when people just leave one character like K or an emoji as a thank you and what have you. It's like, okay, no, okay, it's okay at the end of a conversation, but not as the first contact. So conversational commerce eclipses pretty much all other forms of marketing. And depending on how you want to scale and everything else, excuse me, I'm just gonna, Facebook is doing some funky monkey stuff. So I'm just gonna close that so it stops bonging in the background. But we want to make sure that we have the opportunity to communicate with as many people as possible. Now, depending on your business, obviously there's qualifiers here, but even if you have to scale and you have thousands of people a day, or sometimes we're spending thousands of dollars a day on ads and everything else, obviously I'm not going to be able to strike up a conversation with every single one. In which case, I want to qualify the people, so I isolate, and basically a lot of our marketing processes, a lot of our business processes, a lot of things that have made me able to do what I do at scale and be successful. Remember, I was talking about how I used to be hustled and now I'm not. It's because I just have conversations as much as possible, and they're very easy to have, but I qualify to make sure that I'm eliminating the waste. I'm only talking to perfect customers, perfect clients. And everything I do in advance of that allows me to eliminate. Now, if I can automate this part here, where I have my messaging and I can qualify and just talk to these kind of people, my perfect customers, especially when I'm dealing with high ticket products. See, many of my products range from anything from $1,000 to $100,000. I'm not dealing with like $10 ebooks or anything like that. That means I can be super restrictive about who I talk to and know that I'm talking to the right person, who's the right customer, who are a joy to work with. They make life worth living. They make me jump out of bed because I'm excited to go talk to these perfect people. And I'm not dealing, to be quite honest, with numpties every single day. Okay, so C-commerce, like I said, it's kind of a revolution, but it's based on an age-old principle. Back when we were dragging clubs, remember we were talking maybe in, I think it was the first day, we were talking about saber-toothed tiger on a rock, and we were talking about the fight-flight response, the reptilian, mammalian, and human brain. Well, imagine we're back in those times and we're grunting at each other with clubs and banging them on rocks and stuff like that to communicate. That's conversational commerce right there. It is a lost art of communication. But there's two factors here that we need to talk about. First of all, we need to know who our perfect customer for a business is. If we're looking to create a business, or we already have a business, we need to think, okay, what do we have to offer them? Now, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. Okay, we've got some very cool stuff there. But maybe you've already got a business and you've got a good idea who your perfect customer should be, but you're not 100% dialed in. Next, we need to be very defined about our messaging so that when our messaging goes out and when we're talking to people, we're checking all of the mental boxes in their heads saying, oh, yeah, I really need to talk to this person. Now, one thing we focus on a lot, and we call it the coffee shop conversation. Imagine that you walked into a coffee shop, okay? And I bumped it. So go get a couple of coffees, sit down, say, hey. So, hey, I'm sorry about that, but hey, tell me, what's your name? Cool, what do you do? Oh, that's interesting. Tell me more. Now, what I'm doing there is very simple. Now, I'm using an accidental analogy, but imagine you bumped into an old friend. Hey, Fred, how you been? Let me get you a coffee. Tell me what you been up to. What are you into these days? Oh, that's awesome. Tell me more. You see, having a conversation is really, it's the most natural thing in the world. We do it every day. That one skill of being able to hold a conversation, even in its most basic form, is the one skill you need to create an unhustled business, an unhustled revenue stream, an unhustled life. Because when you focus on the right people, having the right conversations, and being able to do this, then all sorts of magic can happen. Okay, so let's talk about how, as part of the Unhustled clan, we put ourselves out there. We present ourselves to the world. And a lot of this comes down with clarity of messaging, defining what we do, who we do it for, the results we can get them, and how we can help them. Now, we had some great comments in the group the last couple of days. We were talking about how we want to help other people, how we can best serve. Because by giving value first, by serving, being a servant to other people, we can actually reap those rewards in the equity that we put out there. Okay. Now, let me explain this in a little different way. Because this is one thing where most business people go absolutely wrong. Because they try and take first. Okay. So I'm going to keep this up here. Connect, converse, convert. And I'm going to remove, we call him Red Fred. Just because, and now Red Fred won't go. My minions are not working. And I'm going to have to get really aggressive here. Get squeaky. God, that is a horrible bloody noise. Okay, these minions squeak a lot, apparently. Okay, note to self, do not use the red pen. Okay, so we'll file that one under miscellaneous. Okay, so, what the hell was I? Oh, yes. So, imagine that we go to a bank, okay? And in that bank is a nice vault, okay? And we'll pretend it's got all the security stuff on it, okay? So we go into a bank, speak to the bank manager, we go up to the bank manager and say, hey, I'd like to open an account. Wonderful, okay. And I'm gonna open that account with $10. Welcome to the bank. Thank you for being a customer. Great. Can I take out $1,000 from my account? Bank manager will give you a funny look. Sorry, sir. You only have $10, but I want to borrow $1,000. I want to take $1,000 out of my account. Sorry, sir, you only have $10. But you know what? You're right. I'll take out $10,000. You're going to be looked at like you're crazy. Well, the thing is that when you interact with anyone, doesn't matter if it's in business or in life, and you meet someone for the first time, you have zero in that account. You have zero equity or value in that relationship. So the one thing that we do a lot when we're having conversations in business, when we're having conversations in life, is we find a way to give first. Now, by depositing equity into this vault of a new relationship, it could be a new business contact, it could be a new person we've just met, bumped into a coffee shop. By listening, by engaging, by asking questions, by being helpful, by, if I have in business, a giant network and someone says, hey, does anyone have a recommendation for X? I'll be one of the first people to say, hey, yeah, you know what? I know this person. Let me connect you. Or yeah, absolutely. You know what? So, and if I don't have anyone, what we'll do is, and some of you guys know that we work a lot on LinkedIn. It's one of our primary sources of business. I'll actually go out to my community and my network and say, hey, got Tina here. Tina needs someone who can do X. Is there anyone in my network that could have a connection or a recommendation that will be able to help her? Boom. What have I just done? It took me 30 seconds to maybe write that. But now myself and Tina have a connection, a bond, and I've been able to give first. You see, everything with that first point of contact is, what value do you bring? What do you do? Who do you help? Now, I'm going to give you a secret weapon. It's a one-sentence elevator pitch. Something we developed a long time ago that allows you not only to attract your perfect person that you want to speak to in business, but also it allows you to clearly communicate who you help, what you do, and the value that you bring. You see, successful people and unhustled entrepreneurs do promote themselves. They're very clear and defined about what they do so that, again, they attract those people. Because when you have a clear, defined message of who you are, what you do, and the difference you can bring to other people's lives, then amazing stuff can happen. All sorts of doors will open. Doors that you thought previously were locked to you forever. Because clarity creates wealth. Clarity creates momentum. And clarity defines the path that you will step along. Okay, so we're going to get clear. Okay, now while I'm rubbing this out, grab a pen and paper, because I want you to, or open up Word or text editor, whatever. Because this next one is going to be very, very useful to you. In fact, what you're about to write down, and once you filled in the blanks, I want you to memorize it, repeat it, so that you can say it without even thinking about it. So this is the one-sentence elevator pitch. If you have a social media bio, if you have a resume, if you have anything where your messaging should be, this is going to be the new text you put in there. And by the way, if you can hear my dog barking, it's because we're still having a carbon monoxide problem. We've got people working on the furnace, and my dog, and I have a giant German Shepherd, he's in the next room, and he's not happy bunny right now. I help. And I'm going to put target here, target market, get or do result without pain. Now, this is a copywriting thing that I've adapted over the years to be very defined. It's a one-sentence elevator pitch. It's the unhustled elevator pitch. I help, in other words, I give value to get very granular about who's your best target market for whatever you're doing. Now, if you don't have a business yet, it's okay. If you'd like to create a business, stay tuned for tomorrow. We're going to be talking about one of the easiest businesses you can create based on what we're covering right here. Okay? And it's one of the most unhustled business models you've ever seen. However, if you do have a business or you've currently dabbled in the online marketing realm or anything else, doesn't matter. I want you to think about this specifically. Even if you haven't even thought about creating a business or doing anything, think about the people that you want to help. People, the things that give you joy. Okay? People that if you could just surround yourself with these people, these are the people you want to help. So I help target market, get or do, and then you define the result. What value do you give? What results can they get from what you do? Without whatever the pain point is. Okay? What's their frustration? What's their biggest resistance point? What is the thing that drives them crazy? Okay? I'll give you an example. I help coaches, consultants, and experts get perfect clients without spending a fortune on Facebook ads, complex funnels, or throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks. Okay? All you've got to do is fill in those blanks that are relevant to you. Because by doing this, you're clearly defining, you're kind of placing that anchor in the ground. Okay? You're saying, boom, this is where I stand. This is who I help. This is the result they can get. And I can help you avoid all the frustrations that have stopped you getting this result in the first place. Now, put a yes or a one or a heck yeah in the comments. Now, again, I don't have Phil kind of buffering here right now, like I said, but I want to see yes, 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 that you get this in principle. Even if you're thinking, I'm not sure what those blanks are, that you understand in principle, because I have another layer to add to this, and I want to make sure we all get it before we do. Okay, beautiful. And now I'm seeing all the streams. Okay, you guys are, you're awesome. You really are awesome, and I appreciate your time and attention to this, because this is stuff that, again, I only teach in usually 5 to 25K seminars, and we get very, very granular. So I'm doing a lot of surface level stuff right now because I want you to understand in principle where we are, what we do, and why this is very, very powerful. So let's go a step further. Let's take a couple of random examples. We have a lady, and I'm just thinking about some of the comments and they're just going randomly through my head, who deals with a lot of vaping. Okay, I don't know the specific area of vaping, but let's say I help smokers get better health without having to puff tobacco, or I help smokers get healthier by or without puffing on old tobacco, which can cause you cancer or what have you. Just a random example. I got another client, okay, it's in the trading space, stock market. I help retail traders get greater returns from the market without being glued to the stock market screens every single day. Okay, I'll just take another random industry. Weight loss. I help. Who's my target market? I can get very granular in the weight loss space. So let's say that I help single moms get the best body they've ever dreamed of without having to be a gym rat. Okay, but target market. You can get very, very specific, and it's simple. Fill in the blanks. You just kind of have to tweak it to be where you are. Now, let's add what I call the supercharger. This is something that really can skyrocket your messaging. So that and that is desired outcome. So you've got several different elements all in one sentence. You have your target market defined, the results they can get, the pain that you remove because they don't have to face or deal with that pain, whatever your solution, whatever your process, whatever you're doing, alleviates that. It helps them avoid that so that they can step forward into whatever their desired outcome. Let's use a couple of examples. I use the weight loss. I help single mums get the best body ever without having to slave away at the gym so that you can be the sexiest person that you've ever wanted to be. You can be empowered, you can be this, whatever that desired outcome is, because people want a result to get here. A result drives them forward. A result is momentum. But usually beyond that result is where they want to be. We talked about this with where you are right now, where you want to be. A result is what drives you forward towards that desired outcome. Now put a yes if you get that, if that makes sense. That everything is driving them towards an ultimate destination that is often left unsaid. But if you can clearly define your target market, the result you can get them, how to avoid the pain, but you can get them to maybe where they didn't even consider they wanted to be, wunderbar. Okay? Yeah. Okay, good. Now, there's going to be a question. Unfortunately, without Phil here to Jimmy the comments, I can only read them from a distance here. But someone usually says, but I serve a lot of different people. I help a lot of different people. Do I have to try and bundle them all together? You can. Like I use an example, coaches, consultants, and experts. That's 3 different groups. Each one of them, they're very similar. But if you have very diverse target markets, guess what? Create a different elevator pitch for each group. Usually what happens is it's this that changes. You might have a different version for 3 different groups. Usually the results you're getting, and you might word them slightly differently. I actually have about 3 different elevator pitches for one business because it's going to depend on who I'm talking to. If I go to if I'm in a room full of female entrepreneurs, okay, my one-liner is going to be vastly different than if I'm in a room full of boring nerds who are coders and they're all like 40 plus males like me. Okay, language is going to be very different, but you can very easily get granular with that and create segmented messaging. This is one of the, and again, very, very simple to do. Very simple to do. So this allows us to connect. Because we're clearly defined, we're talking to the right people, and the right people are going to resonate with that and want to talk to us. We eliminate 99% of all the BS. Because, again, we're putting this as a filter, but also it becomes a magnet. Because, oh, he helps me with my, and this is what people, when they read this, oh, he can help me get that thing that I want. Yeah, you know what? And he does it without that pain I'm feeling. And I didn't think about that. I need to talk to that person. This is the magic glue. Now you start implementing this in anything you're doing. Anything you're doing. It's like a whole light switch turns on. Most people struggle with who their target market is. even if they're in business. And if you've kind of trying to get something going online, if you've tried to get things moving in the past and you've struggled, this, you kind of write it down, eliminate those foggy parts and just say, you know what? If I could sit down with the perfect person right now, who would that be? Who would be my ideal customer, client, or the one person I would like to sit next to and actually speak to? And I know that I could get them results. I could give them value. One thing that we do, and we have this kind of like an internal rule. We were joking back and forth the other day about this, and we even kind of touched on it, is we have a filter. Is this unhustled for any idea we have? We also have another filter that when we're talking to individuals, we have a very specific filter. If we weren't getting paid, could we still get this person results? If we didn't get paid until this person got results, could we help this person? You see, a lot of people out there will say, yeah, we can help anyone. Their qualification is, do you have a pulse? Yes? Okay, we'll take your money. We don't do that. When we create courses and programs, we do it with one intent in mind. We only want people we know we can get results for. If we can't, then we're going to point you in the right direction for a program or system or a referral that will help you. Because we want, very simple, this is our philosophy with everything we do. We want win-win. We actually, I'll tell you personally, I've probably turned down over $1 million worth of business because it wasn't going to be a win-win. If I can't help the individual, they're not in a position to help themselves, and what I'm doing is going to be beyond them or above them, or it's not going to help them, I will not take that money. Now, in business, that would be seen as crazy. I want to live with myself. I want to be able to sleep at night. Integrity is one of the biggest, and you'll probably get this from what we're doing here. Integrity is one of the biggest things for me, because if I can't help an individual, I will say, and I will point them in the right direction so that it becomes a win. And if I can't, hey, we'll find a solution somehow. But I don't want to take on anyone as we do high ticket coaching. Like I said, we have products that are 5, 10, 15, 25, 50, 100K. But I will not move forward on any one of those unless it's a real, I can deliver those results. And when you build your business and your life around that level of integrity, yeah, a lot of things can happen. And it can free you up from a lot of problems, a lot of frustrations. Because when you take on, I work with a lot of coaches. And when I see coaches, and excuse all the noise, and like I say, I've got people working on our furnace right now because it's still kicking out carbon monoxide. But when I see people who just take on anyone just because they need to get that, that money in the door and everything else, but there's desperation. But when you do that, it's not a good place to be, because you're bringing on imperfect people who are going to create friction, anger, frustration, a lot of negativity. And that doesn't just affect you and that individual client. It affects everyone in the business, because it is like a weak cancer. So one thing we do here is when we have a connection, we then want to get on some sort of conversation. And we have a very simple thing we do. We are aloof to the outcome. Now, a lot of people, like I said, this is where this big storm, conversational commerce, is going to knock out a lot of people. Because what do? They come up like it's the used car salesman. Would you like to buy my product? Sell me this pen. That's not conversing. That's leg humping. That's that wee chihuahua that looks at your ankle lovingly. That's not business. That's stupid. And we're so resistant to that as human beings. This is why I'm saying it's a lost art. The average American gets hit with over 4,000 marketing and sales messages every day. Internet, social media, really hasn't helped with that. In fact, it's accelerated. What happens is we build up a lot of natural resistance, a lot of barriers. So here's what we do. If we're having a chat with someone and they're telling us about what they're doing and you know, hell, tell me more, we're creating that conversation. But we're aloof to the outcome, because all we should be doing is encourage them, anyone that we're talking to talk about themselves, to talk about what they're doing, what they're working on. Very simply, if you want to use my very formula, where are you right now? Where do you want to be? And then the question I'm asking in the middle of all that is, with what I do, can I help you get there? And if not, do I know anyone who can? See, this is called being aloof to the outcome. Now, when you do this in business, you do this online, and amazing things can happen, because it open. And we'll talk about this a lot more tomorrow. Okay, this is the big thing. The big reveal is tomorrow. But this is where you can create a very unhustled business that you can run in only 1 to 2 hours a day. I'm going to give you the high level view of what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, because we kind of keep that one under wraps a little bit. But we're going to show you how to generate and create a 6-figure business with only 4 customers in your business, only working 1 to 2 hours a day. Okay? Now, this is a process that I teach my private clients. It's a process I teach my team. It's a process I'm going to teach to you. And here's the cool thing. Doesn't matter if you've struggled to create an online business before. We're going to show you how to build, grow, and scale a business from scratch. Or if you already have a business, we're going to show you how to elevate that as well using these same techniques, using the power of C-commerce. I'm going to show you how to be the most successful person you can be. I'm going to show you how to free up all your time. I'm going to show you how to generate real revenue that you can then use to power whatever you want to do, to fund the life you want, but to build your business around the life you want, not the other way around, trying to cram life in around and hope for the best. No hustle, no grind. That's what this is all about. So we're going to cover that in more detail tomorrow. But like I said, we like to make the conversations very risk-free. You see, like I said, everyone is bombarded with messages every single day. Hey, would you like to buy this product? Would you like to buy this product? How about this product? We just say, hey, if it makes sense, let's have a quick chat together. Be about 10 minutes. Let's catch up. Let's see if I can help you in any way. It's not salesy. In fact, a lot of what we do, no, this is true. 99% of what we do has nothing to do with selling. Except I'm one of the most successful people you will ever meet when it comes to selling. Why? I'll tell you a funny story. And it's a true story. When I was a kid, I used to work in a car dealership. Okay? Now, I was 17. I wasn't a salesperson. Okay? On this car lot were all the big wigs, the big egos, the big swinging you-know-whats, or so they thought. They're in there with all their fancy suits and everything else. And one of my favorite games, if you ever want to have a little bit of fun, this is naughty, but I'll give you a little thing that I sometimes do. If I'm on a car dealership and I'm looking at cars, I'll stay in my vehicle and then I'll drive slowly around the parking lot. Usually, and then what will happen is you'll see all of the vultures descend. Okay, no one likes car dealers and used car salesmen. So what I'll do is I'll wait until they're near the vehicle, and then I'll go look at another vehicle, and I'll actually play this little game of I call it vulture hunting, and I'll let them follow the car around. I'm like, oh no, I'm good. But anyway, that's naughty. I know that's evil. But One thing, when I used to be a kid, and that was one of my part-time jobs, was I'd be the guy cleaning the cars on the parking lot. Okay, new car came in, I was the guy who detailed it. Now, all these big wigs and all their suits and everything else, the big I ams, you know who they are. They're coming out with their big egos, trying to push people into the most expensive car they can't afford. Not cool. That's the majority of people marketing online. It's just the new form of car dealers. Okay? It's horrible. Now, I was the best salesman on that lot. And I learned something very cool. You see, while I was cleaning cars, people would try and sneak onto the parking lot, trying not to get the attention of the salespeople. And I'm out there cleaning cars and everything else. And if I saw them, I'd say, hey, you looking for something specific? And he said, yeah, we've got the family and everything else. I said, oh, what do you actually need with your vehicle? What are you trying to do? Oh, we've got a small family, want to go back and forth to soccer practice. So, well, you know what? I've actually just cleaned this car over here. It's immaculate. If you like, I can show you it and everything else. Now, here's the thing. I'm not selling. I'm not the salesman. What I'm doing is I'm guiding. I'm guiding them, so I'm asking them questions. I'm listening to the answers. And then I'll say, you know what? I don't know if you've got anything on the lot like that, but if you tried the one down the street, I think they got a couple like that I saw the other day. But helpful guide, not selling. Everything we do here is being a helpful guide. Now, how did I become the best salesperson? This became like Pac-Man to me. If you imagine a giant parking lot, okay, and you've got all these salesmen walking around trying to get the people, and there's me walking around and then finding the people, and I'm finding the people who are looking but trying to avoid all of the salespeople. It's just like a giant game of Pac-Man. So I ended up cutting a deal with one of the finance guys that if I referred someone in, they'd give me a little kickback for any sale that was made, but I wasn't officially allowed to sell. I ended up outselling all of the main salespeople just with the kickbacks. I made so much more from the kickbacks of actually getting a sale without being a salesman that they eventually, one of the top salesmen got me fired because I outsold him 3 months in a row. And the guy who ran the place is like, well, why the hell am I hiring you as a salesperson when this minimum wage schmuck over here is outselling you? Yeah, so I got fired. I got fired for being successful. Go figure. But it taught me a valuable lesson. It's that being a guide is infinitely more valuable. It breaks through all of the barriers, but it's not just applying to business, it also applies to life. When you are aloof to the outcome, that you speak with the intent to listen rather than speaking to be heard, again, that puts you in a whole different class of human being. So conversational commerce is really about building up a rapport, trust, authority, but more than anything else, it's connecting. And when you connect, all of the barriers that we have as human beings evaporate. And you can get through all the BS to the heart of the matter. And when you have that relationship, which you can't do with Facebook ads and affiliate marketing and all these other things, that's where the big money is. Now you can go out and try and be an affiliate marketer and try and sell $20 supplements and all this other stuff, or ebooks, or whatever latest fad or BS is out there. But if you provide and have the facility to provide real value to an individual or a business, if you cut through all the BS and you actually get down to a real conversation, that is where you convert. Now that conversion could be just a referral to someone else. It could be something that you provide. It could be that you just made that person smile for the day. That's a conversion. Now, for what I do, again, a lot of my products range from $1,000 to $100,000. When I'm having these high value conversations and I have a lot of value to bring to the table, and if you and I can chat, converse, or you're chatting and conversing with your target market, makes that process a lot simpler. In fact, a lot of the times when I do this with $5,000, $10,000 products, and if I can show the person I'm talking to the real value, the result that can help them get to their desired outcome, I don't have to do any selling. They ask me, how can we start? What do we do to get started? Where do I send the check? Can you take a payment over the phone? They sell themselves. I don't have to sell. You see, a lot of people are out there. There's a multi-billion-dollar industry all about being a high-ticket closer. Hey, coffees for closers. Get the deal. You know what? That's just trying to brute force your way through the barriers of resistance. Absolute horseshit. Excuse my accented French. Have a connection, have a conversation, have a conversion. And when you do this, and with what we're going to show you tomorrow, when we bring all of this together, I'm going to show you something very, very powerful. So keep an eye out on your email, on your messenger. We're actually going to announce the 5th day, the final day, tomorrow. You'll be able to sign up. We're actually going to do a 2-hour presentation live. We're going to go through a very, very powerful piece of training. It's going to bring everything we've covered in the last few days together, wrap it up in a nice bow, and show you how we can get. We've already started this journey, okay? We're about here. I'm going to show you how to accelerate beyond that. We're going to do it in this 2-hour session tomorrow. Now, let me ask you, before we wrap up here, first of all, I want you to write this down and copy and paste it into, just post it as a general post. Here is my Unhustled elevator pitch. And then put this down. I help target market get or do result without pain so that. And I will critique, I will actually make some suggestions if I see them and everything else, or I'll just give them a thumbs up if I think they're perfect. But one last thing I want to ask you guys, and this is from the last few days have been intense. I've not done anything like this forever. And doing 5 days in a row and beyond, it's been a lot of fun. I've got a lot of enjoyment from this, being able to give to you guys. But let me ask you this. Have you got a lot of value from the last few days? Even if you're playing catch up, even if you've just come out, have you got a lot of value from the last few days of doing this? Because I know we've got one more day, but I want to make sure that I'm giving everything I can to you guys. That you are, I trust you get a lot from this, that it's making you look at things in a completely different way, that we are moving along this journey together, that you are seeing a clear path forwards. And yeah, a lot of people are saying yes, 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 and yes. That's great. Fantastic. Well, good. I'm grateful, and I thank you for your time and your attention. We will wrap it up right there. And again, we're going to have, like I said, the big thing tomorrow. Keep an eye on your emails. Keep an eye on your messenger. We'll be making it easy for you to jump on the training tomorrow. We're not going to be doing that training in the Facebook group. We're going to do that in a webinar, but you're going to get a message tomorrow so you can pick which time is best for you based on what you're doing and everything else. And we'll wrap up this challenge with a bang. So, and Mr. Newton, back in the room. Yeah, I'm going to add you. Okay, so yeah, we're just wrapping up. I'm going to add you. Okay, Phil's in the background. You probably heard him, and he's just connecting at the last
everyone. Better late than never. I was on a sales call, but 2 very successful back-to-back sales calls. We've got 2 new clients that are looking to sign up for the agency, so great news for us.
Absolutely. And guys, we practice what we preach. We run, and I haven't really talked about this, but we run an agency. I develop programs and courses to help entrepreneurs. I go all over the world. I speak on all sorts of stages in front of thousands of people. But our core business is helping entrepreneurs. I help entrepreneurs get
more. We do what we do.
Exactly. We practice what we preach. I mean, that has been my business, and I have my fingers in a lot of different pies. Everything from stock market trading, real estate investing. We have a digital agency, which is what Phil was just on a call helping and having a conversation.
The gentleman that we were just
we converted.
The gentleman that we were just speaking to, Sean, was into alternative investments. He was a very interesting financial advisor. So, and it linked into the real estate stuff as well, Sean. We need to talk after we've pressed stop on record.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. So
it's perfect client for us. Perfect client for us.
So yes. So I haven't been able to look through all the comments and everything else. And Phil is just stepping in now. Is there any questions or comments that you stand out real quick that I can address?
Let me just have a little look. I'm not. I didn't get a chance to follow along with.
I was literally just wrapping up when I suddenly saw this.
I saw that. It looked like there's great value, great comments. Looking forward to the stream. Let me just scroll back. I think there's just a few examples of the value statements. I like to refer to this as a classified advert, Sean. That's what we're creating here. So if you have that in mind when you put this together, I don't know if you mentioned that already, Sean, but did you say that?
No, I hate that analogy, but there you go.
I love that analogy, but when I'm explaining it to clients, they go, "Oh, that's why we do it. It's a classified ad. It's a short one-line statement of who you help and what you do for them."
You know what? Fair enough. I'll let you off with it.
Yeah, but damn right, Sean. Damn right. I'm on a high after my calls. If you can't tell, I'm bouncing off the walls. So lots of good takeaways. I'm just catching up on the comments. There's no obvious questions, Sean. If we do miss you out, we'll go back. I'll be digging through them now just to make sure that if there is a question we've overlooked, we'll get onto it. But everyone's looking great. Everyone's putting the value statements. Great value. Big bang, boom. Lots of explosions and thumbs up, and they're enjoying. Jay, thanks.
November. There you go. So, okay, rock on, guys. Well, thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow. We're actually doing 4 sessions tomorrow for different people at different times. The first session, like I said, check your email. You'll get an email first thing in the morning. It's happening at 11 a.m. Eastern. You'll also get a notice in Messenger about it as well. So keep an eye out for that. And we'll post some links in the group tomorrow because this one is going to be intense. But it's, like I said, it's the crowning glory. It's what this is all leading up to. We're going to have a lot of bloody fun. So take care. See you tomorrow. And I appreciate your time and attention as always.
Bye, everyone.